Dr. General VK Singh, welcome to yet another show of yours. Because this entire Muhim, this entire project owes its existence, sustainability, growth, and vision, ethics, mission, everything to people like you ever since we started this online journey 3 years back. General Dr. VK Singh is responsible for having Amrit Mahotsav series catapulted to heights unforeseen, unparalleled, and now today we've crossed more than 500 monologues and 250 plus summits on issues of varied importance to national, since India's independence 75 years back and counting. Now we are going to be racing towards 2047, the 100th year of independence. India, if it has to fly high, on all accounts from a global perspective, needs to have the civil aviation in place, definitely. And the Minister of State in charge, Dr. General VK Singh, the former General of the Indian Army, who is also holding charge, in fact, who is also the Minister of State, Road Transport and Highways over last few years, is somebody who holds the entire, civilian transport of this country as the minister in charge. Now, General Dr. VK Singh is going to tell us as to what is this that plagues the aviation industry so much, and why, despite picking up over the last few years with so many beautiful schemes like Udan and regional cost airlines, etc., so many ups and downs this industry has seen with low cost airlines 20 years back. They're all shutting down, Kingfisher, Deccan, and then Indigo coming up, growing forward, Air India privatization, Tata's again getting hold of the entire aviation sector space. But then suddenly another roadblock has been hit in the form of GOFIRST. Now, GOFIRST isn't the first to go. And is there a way out? Is there a way uphill from here? Or is it only a task uphill from here? So that is what Dr. General VK Singh has taken us through, not only through the journey of civil aviation last 20 years, but also the way forward, considering the kind of nitty-gritties and intricacies this sector is plagued with, of a 140 crore nation, wherein the infrastructure is in absolute nascent stages. Yes, there have been some major landmark achievements of the current government, 9+ years old, of Mr. Narendra Bhai Modi, wherein people like General Singh are leading the baton of the civil aviation, with Air India's privatization being one of the pearls in the entire crown of the government. Now, the issue is, if such roadblocks keep hitting us from time to time, instead of going forward, doesn't it take us 2 steps backward? What was the reason for this imbroglio, this kind of entire catapulting of something which was moving in the right direction? And if General Dr. VK Singh has to be believed, because he is somebody who holds no bar when it comes to speaking the real facts out, we would like to hear from you what has caused this kind of a roadblock, what is the way forward, and what are the current initiatives that the government is taking or considering, so that India in the next 5 years, God willing, if there is a stable government next year onwards, India is going to be flying high like never before. Over to you, Honorable Minister, General Dr. VK Singh ji.
Thank you, Amit. Let me start by saying that we need to understand the historical backdrop before we come to what is happening today. And when we look at it, there are a couple of things which stand out. Tata had an airline. We took it over. It became, and then there was another one which came up as Indian Airlines for domestic purposes, and Air India, which did the routes abroad, provided connectivity to foreign lands, if I can put it that way. Once a thing becomes under the control of the government, what you need is experts who can manage it. If you are going to trust somebody who one day was in the postal department, second tenure he had was in coal, third day you post him into aviation, what do you expect from him? That has been the bane of Air India. And on top of it, our decision makers of that time decided that the best way out is, oh, Indian Airlines is running in loss, Air India is running in profit, let's combine. They put a millstone around Air India by loading them with the losses of Indian Airlines. And the methodology was typical government, where a certain amount of things are taken for granted. For example, there is a minister who heads it, and I'm talking of period before 2014, period when the governments were not NDA, governments were either Congress or UPA. So the minister Saab is approached by somebody from his constituency. Oh, sir, my son is, without a job. Huh? Your son is without a job? I'll give him a job. Okay, employ him. The rules can go to wherever they are. He is employed or she is employed. And ultimately what you did was, you loaded Air India with extra staff. You loaded them with extra expenses. You did not see the viability of how it was run. What were the route adjustments? They were competing with airlines which came up after Deccan, which were budget airlines, shoestring budget. They didn't provide you food, you had to buy that. Their turnaround was faster because they were on shoestring budget. And obviously they did well because they wanted to succeed. But here, since it was a government department, success doesn't make any difference. It is not their money. They will get that pay at the end of the month. They couldn't be bothered whether Air India made a profit or not. And as a result, Air India sank and sank and sank. And I must say that it was Narendra Modi ji who said, government should not run enterprises for which it has got no experience. So after a lot of deliberation, after a lot of analysis, it was decided, let's sell off Air India and get out of this morass that we have got into. Air India was sold off. The highest bid was that of Tata's. It has gone back to Tata's. Today, Tata is in a very strong position. They have Air India. They have Vistara, which is in collaboration with Singapore Airlines. They have got Air Asia. They have got Air India Express. Now, they've got a very large chunk of pieces out there, which, if managed properly, they can redominate the aviation sector. And where the domestic sector is concerned, and now some of them are branching out into taking some routes abroad, are Indigo, you have Spice, you had Go Air. Deccan had gone, it went, it was sold off by Gopinath, and subsequently he went into cargo operations. Jet came in between. It attracted a lot of benevolence of the political masters of the day at that time. Had an NPA, kept running, ultimately it had to go down. And all efforts to revive it are still falling short of the determination that is needed to start an airline again. Now, Air India, Spice, and Indigo, they have made large orders for refurbishing their fleet and enlarging their fleet. It will take time. But let me assure you, the type of demand and the growth the aviation sector has in India, it is going to make a difference in years to come. It is one of the fastest growing markets in the world. At the same time, I would also like to point out that during COVID, the aviation across the world took a hit. It took a hit because everything was locked down, nobody was traveling, there were no profits. Even today, none of our airlines is in profit. No one. No exceptions. Yes, they're running the routes, they're trying their best to make their ends meet, but they're still in debt. The situation it is slowly improving. We are today, where passenger level is concerned, we have crossed the pre-COVID level. That is the kind of passenger rush that is taking place. If our aircrafts keep coming in time from abroad, if the modernization efforts go in time as planned, in a couple of years, you will find that aviation sector will be in profit and it will keep growing. You have a very large demand of pilots. We have made efforts to start the flying training organizations. There are much more than what they used to be in 2014. We have eased the rules. We have tried to incentivize. We are trying to get the MROs to work in India so that these large fleets that come, we are able to help them. Now, the question that comes is, what happened to Go Air? Your first thing that started. And I think you put it out with a little sarcasm to say, it is the first one to go. Who is going to be the next one? See, Go Air is not going because the management was bad. We must understand that. Go Air is going because the fleet was equipped with Pratt and Whitney engines. Now, Pratt and Whitney company, when we have been speaking to them for the last almost 8-9 months. Please hurry up, because if you have to replace the engine because the engine life is coming to an end and the aircraft has to be safe, you need the engine. If you want to change the make of the engine, it requires certain modification, amount of expenses. When an airline is already in a loss, it is an extra burden. And if they had a lot of money, maybe they would have tried out to change some of their aircraft into a different engine. That still would have taken some more time. But with Pratt and Whitney company having problems, and their excuse being that in COVID, most of their middle and higher level management walked out and they haven't come back, and therefore they're not able to meet their targets. It has been known to be a very arrogant company. What do? Engines are not coming. Aircraft will not be safe if you keep flying with the engine which is towards the end of the life. So most of the fleet of Go Air got grounded. Now, the fleet is grounded. It is not flying. You are not making any money. You are only getting losses because those aircrafts are there. They have to be maintained. So they applied for insolvency. They have no alternative. And it's not because of management, because they know that Pratt & Whitney is not coming. The other airline, the Spice, is having similar problem. The Bombardier fleet is Pratt & Whitney. They've been able to procure some because they are of a different type, but they're Pratt & Whitney. A time will come when they will start having problems. So the problem is not because of management part. The problem is because of the type of equipment, the type of technicalities involved in it. And our dependence on either Boeing or Airbus or the Pratt & Whitney engines, which are equipping these aircraft. So what are the alternatives? Buy out Pratt & Whitney? I don't think they're going to sell it. Train your people to make an engine. Yes, you can train our people to make an engine. By the time your people get trained, by the time your engine comes up, what do you do till then? You'll still keep buying from them. So the problem is very acute. We need to look at long-term solutions. We need to look at joint ventures with aircraft and engine makers so that we can start doing a JV in India with investments coming from these companies, engines being made in India with people who are trained by these companies. But this is a long-term solution. In short term, there's no solution. There are no engines available in the market. So Go Air has to go. You can't help it. And I keep my fingers crossed where spice is concerned. We are looking for uh, aircraft which are called seaplanes, which can land on water. Most of them are Pratt and Whitney engines. So the aviation sector is seeing a problem. I'm quite sure there will be very enterprising people abroad who look at this challenge and come up with solutions. But at the moment, there is no solution. We are stuck. We are stuck because you care for the safety. You want people to fly. And mind you, after Modi ji came in 2014, he has constantly been looking at the aviation sector. And he came up with this regional connectivity scheme termed as Udan, Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagrik. It was democratization of aviation. You laid down a particular distance and you said the fare will be only so much. Basically, it was to connect tier 2, tier 3 cities from where people could fly to tier 1 city to take a flight beyond, or they could go from tier 2 to tier 2 or tier 3 to tier 2 or tier 2 to tier 3. In this, we were ensuring viability through a viability gap funding mechanism so that we could ensure that the prices didn't go up and that Hawai Chappal Wala could travel in Hawai Jahaj. It has succeeded. It has succeeded beyond expectations. But now we have hit the wall. We have hit the wall because airlines are strained. They're not making profit. They're strained with a smaller fleet. Where do you put these people? I was talking to Akasha people. Their aircrafts are flying 14 hours a day minimum. They need pilots, shifts of pilots at every place. They're managing it. You can imagine the type of management that is required to run that airline. Because as their fleet gets enlarged, what they're running with a smaller fleet and more number of routes, because the routes that got closed due to Go Air not flying, we distributed to other airlines so that we make up for that. We have done that, but which means longer flying, which means more strain on the airline to find manpower accordingly to man it. So aviation otherwise has got one more challenge, and that is the aviation turbine fuel is the costless in the world where India is concerned because of the various duties, because of the various excise, etc., etc. And the gasoline products or the petroleum products are not under GST. So states have their own, just like in excise on liquor, they've got their own mechanism to get profit out of this. And they've got a VAT varying from let's say 6% to about 25% or 27%. I would compliment my minister, Jyotiraditya Scindia ji, who took it upon himself to plead his case with all the chief ministers to lower the VAT. And except for 5 states today, everybody has lowered the VAT from 1 to 4%, from 15, 16, 17% to 1 to 4%. There are a few states which are not doing it, which have got very high, Delhi being one of them. I think almost 25 to 27% VAT. Now, why would an airline take that much of expenditure? So we have told the airlines and the states to look here, if you are lowering the VAT, we would request the airlines to fill up their aircraft from those states which have lowered the VAT, so that the volume can compensate for the notional loss that they have suffered because they've lowered the VAT. This will give benefit to the states. It will give benefit to the passenger, because when you work out the ticketing price, the fuel takes quite a lot of money. Earlier, when the price was not so high, the normal norm, a thumb rule that airlines used to follow was that if your occupancy is 55 to 60%, you are in profit. Today, it has to be 80 to 90% to be in some profit, which will make up for the losses that you already have and which can slowly erode the red that you are already in to get into black. So if I sum it up, Amit, I will say aviation sector is doing well. Passengers, more and more passengers are traveling. People have become more aspirational. More number of people from tier 2, tier 3 cities are now traveling. First time travelers are many. The number of aircrafts have reduced. We have a problem with Pratt & Whitney engines. We need to upgrade our fleet. Large orders have been placed. These orders to materialize have got a time frame. It is not that every 400 aircraft are available and tomorrow those 400 aircraft will get transferred to Air India. It will take time to build an aircraft to comply with the orders. We have increased the number of FTOs so that our pilot problems are sorted out. And we have ensured that except for 5 states which do not want to comply with, others have reduced the VAT to help us. There are many more things that have happened. We have to
which are the 5
ease,
states? Sir, which are the 5 states?
Pardon?
Which are the 5 states?
We have Tamil Nadu, we have got West Bengal, we have got Delhi. These are the type of states. Bihar. They don't want to reduce. What do you do? Actually, I think at times I fail to understand the logic. Most of these states have got opposition governments as to what kind of mathematics and sense of commerce do they have. I always compliment our Marwadi businessmen. They have a model, a very simple model, and that is why they're ruling the world. And the simple model is like this. You go to a place, set up your business, whether it is trading or it is anything else. Give items at reasonable rate. Make up your profits by the volumes that you will get. They have succeeded. But if you want to say, no, I must take maximum profit, then it won't work. So I would say that where the aviation ministry is concerned, it is making a very genuine and concerted effort along with the airlines. We are taking the airlines with us, and we are also telling them, look here, we will lay down policies. We are not going to run your airline. Your airline is to be run by you. But there are certain things which we are sensitive to. We are sensitive to unnecessary profit making by high ticket price. Yes, all over the world, you have a system that it is a demand and supply problem, which is true. There is also a system which is called the bucket system, where if you book 3 months in advance, the price is far lesser than what you would do if you book 10 days in advance. But somewhere, I think the airlines also have to make an effort to ensure that prices do not go to a level where they start creating a problem. There have been instances where it has happened, and in all these cases, the airlines have been called and they've been told to mend their ways.
Sir, was it not seen coming over the last 9 years of the
Can you
government?
speak slightly louder? I can't hear you properly.
Sir, was it not seen coming? This Fratini engine issue about the technical kind of impairment it would cause, because 9 years the government is in power. You've been the minister for last few years. Go Air was running this like so many other airlines. They all run on this monopoly kind of an engine. So were they not seeing it coming? And then secondly, if they had to take a certain decision to file a insolvency application with the NCLT, they already had all these, hookups with all the lenders who have then, sent petitions about they're being kept in the dark with respect to sudden declaration of such, insolvency petition being filed. So these issues, do you think could have been done better?
See, everybody who's in an enterprise wants to succeed. It is not that you start an enterprise to not succeed. Go Air started an enterprise to succeed. They were doing pretty well. Like all other airlines, they also had losses during COVID. Everybody had. After COVID, when they started having this issue with the Pratt and Whitney, initially they got some engines. Subsequently, a time came when most of the fleet got grounded. Now, what do? Will you keep taking losses just like Air India took because it was a government airline? No private enterprise will do that. No private enterprise will do that. And if it does it, then I think that entrepreneur does not know what he got into. You are mounting losses. You already were in a loss due because of COVID. You have not made up those losses. You are going further sinking down. What is the alternative left? So you have to wrap up the business. And if you have to wrap up the business, you have to decide how best you can wrap it up by trying to solve all the problems. It is not that, okay, we have abandoned everybody. I'm sure the management is looking as to what bailout that they would do. It'll take time. They'll have to find money for this by pulling in from somewhere else. But as an airline, it won't run with the type of losses that they have and no aircraft to make their ends meet.
What
To at
recourse
least
do the
run the
lenders
airline.
what recourse do the lenders have now with
Pardon?
this? What recourse would the lenders have? The bankers and the lenders have,
See,
because
lenders have a problem. Most of these are on lease. So if you're not paying the lease money, the lender will say, sorry, I'm taking my aircraft back. So you have a problem. And where will the aircraft go? The aircraft cannot fly, it has got a Pratt and Whitney engine. The lender is also in a quagmire. He says, okay, I'm cancelling my lease, you're not paying me. I'll take you to the court. And the
so,
company will say, okay, take your aircraft. Where does it take it?
but technically, wasn't the company aware of such a danger looming large over them? And then, if the deal with that engine maker did not materialize in time?
No. The Pratt and Whitney kept promising we will meet the targets. It's based in USA. Every time we talk to them, don't worry, we are working very hard. Our management is not there, but we are working very hard.
Is it a monopoly product, sir?
Pardon?
Is it a monopoly product?
It is. See, Pratt and Whitney is only one. You have got Airbus, which has got a different engine. There are varieties of engines available. So there are 2-3 varieties of engines which are available. Now, if you want to change the variety, it requires time and money. It requires retraining people to fly that, because no longer it is following the norms which were applicable to that particular engine. So it's a different ball game altogether. It's it's not so easy. And
The,
it's very simple that, okay, you buy a different engine, replace this, fit that engine and fly. Maybe in an emergency, you might be able to do it, but you would have problems because if you are flying passengers and you are not used to that engine, you're not used to the norms of that engine, you're not used to the technicalities of that engine. It is a big affair. It is not simple, this thing.
but
And
I
and we have been in talks, as a ministry, we have been in talks with the Pratt and Whitney people.
but the next issue is with respect to the pricing issues. These pricing issues are also very controversial because you see, India is a very populous country. Here, such low prices, which are almost clashing with the railway two tier and the three tier prices. Do you think they are reasonable and they are logical? Because ultimately, it's the profitability or the bottom line which gets hit with such very base prices which are offered from a time perspective to the flyers, and then it also affects the emergency business class passengers who need to travel in the last minute ticket bookings. So ultimately, who is the real beneficiary in this? Because if the airlines stand grounded, do these passengers who get a ticket at throwaway prices will ever get to fly again?
All inspections are done by the DGCA. They have a system. They check what is happening. They check the logs. They check the all technical parameters, and then take a decision whether this aircraft is maintained properly or not. And based on that, they take action, which can include from grounding to for a few days, rectification, or grounding for a longer period of time. It's all under the purview of DGCA. And it is not just a decision of the airline.
No, sir. My question was with respect to the base pricing at throwaway prices, which are offered by these airlines, and they almost clash or almost stand at equal footing with the railway prices of 3 and 2 AC. Now, with that kind of a situation of pricing, with a time frame probably 2 3 months in advance, the tickets are being booked. Ultimately, it's the bottom line which gets hit. And if the bottom line gets hit, ultimately, these are the kind of situations where the airlines find themselves in a, so isn't it a cash 22 situation? At the same time,
See,
they
Amit, I explained. Pricing of tickets is purely dependent on demand and supply. In summer season and the holiday season, which is coincides with people going to hill stations and other areas or for religious tourism, etc., the prices go up because the demand is higher. Airlines cannot keep up with the demand, so the prices automatically rise. And it's a phenomenon the world over. It is not just India. And that is why the RBDs or the bucket system that they have, if I decide, okay, during the Shara holidays, I must go somewhere, I should book now, 3 months in advance. I'll get it very cheap. The problem is, if I don't make up my mind and I only want it, 5 days before I want to leave for the Shara holiday, I'll have to pay higher price. It's just, we are trying all possible methodologies, including there is a scheme that we were trying out where we can have a small aircraft scheme, aircraft which are 20-seater or below, or 22-seater and below, require a smaller airstrip, and they can service the tier 2, tier 3 cities, work as the spokes of a hub from where they can go down, and you can have more number of flights of these smaller ones, which will ensure that the prices come down. It's You have to have greater number of flights to bring down the price. And mind you, great amount of effort has been done for rationalizing the airspace with the Air Force, so that some routes get straightened. Like if you are going to Dimapur, you are going via Silchar. Now you are going straight. And by this straightening of routes and rationalization, quite quite a large amount has been saved, which otherwise was, because the aircraft was flying a longer route, you were spending more. Shorter route, you also bring down the price of the ticket. There are many things that are happening. Our effort under the guidance of our Prime Minister is very simple. Cater for the needs of people, ensure that the vision that he has put down, where more and more people can travel by air, find solutions to that. We are all working towards that.
But it's a catch-22 situation, General Saab, because it's a catch-22 situation, General Saab, because if you cannot, keep prices at a minimum base fare level, even during the seasons which we know are going to be peak season times, festivals in India are, there are 13 festivals in 12 months. 13 big festivals in 12 months, as we say in some languages. The question is, trying to accommodate more passengers for the sake of populism or popularity. Does it
There's no
really?
popularity involved, Amit, in it. There's no popularity involved. Your Udan scheme is running as it is. There's no problem in Udan scheme. Problem is on the main routes. Problem is with the main routes on which there is extra demand. So if there is extra demand, the price goes up. We are not going into any populism here. All that we are trying to do is to ensure that the facilities that have been worked out for Udan remain intact for the distance and for connecting the tier 2 cities or tier 3 cities. It is remaining intact. There is no problem there. Those prices are stagnant because there is a system of viability gap funding. So
So
the airline won't go in loss.
can the government not think about trying and getting more investment for those who are in a better pink of health compared to one which is destined for probably it's almost like a euthanasia situation wherein there is no choice left with the patient, or he himself also feels there is no choice left. It's a euthanasia case for almost Go Air. So why not invest more in companies like Indigo, Spice, Air India, Tata, because these are companies which are already which are currently at least in the survival stage. And as you had pointed out earlier, if they hit the deep pockets, any one of them, then where do we go from there? If India is left with only the Tatas to, or the Indigo and the Tata only is left, what else do we, what are we left with? On what are your plans for bringing in more foreign investments into the sector?
Foreign investment route is always open. There is the government is not pushing for foreign investments. Your your FDI year on year in the last 9 years has broken a record every year. There is no dearth of money. But if you are wanting the government to invest, I will caution you that government will make policies, government will lay down norms, government will assist, but government is not going to run an airline. It is not for governments to run enterprises like this. It is to be done by people who know the aviation sector. Let them do it themselves. We have seen what happened to Air India, and I quoted that right in the beginning. Government should not interfere. Why should government interfere?
Jinal Sahab,
Government
you
should
said,
only facilitate. Government should only assist. Government is not going to invest in aviation sector. Yes, we will create airports, we will create the infrastructure, we will assist in whatever way we can. But no buying an airline, no running an airline, no bailing out an airline, which is being run by somebody. Okay, it is going into loss. We'll find why it has gone into loss. Have they eaten up that money? That we are keeping a tab.
what is the way forward? What is the way forward for the borrowers, for the lenders, and Go Air?
I couldn't get your question. I think you'll have to speak slightly louder next to the mic.
What is the way forward for the lenders of Go Air and Go Air as a company? Will it fly again? What are the
See,
prospects?
Go Air is not in a position to fly. They don't have the engines. I wish we were making engines. I wish we had 20 years back, somebody had thought of getting somebody to manufacture engines in India. It has not happened. So it will take time. And with this time, I don't think Go Air is in a position to move forward at all.
So
It's not easy.
What is your
It's like your car. Suppose you've got an expensive car and the engine is gone and you can't import the engine and put because nobody is making that engine,
so,
or
sir,
the waiting period is, let's say, 10 years. What are you going to do with that car?
Sir, the topic of
You said it as
today's
junk.
the topic of today's interaction was go first, not the first, definitely. So as you have already pointed out, the same situation looms over other airlines also. So what is the panacea
See,
prescribed?
that is why today the airlines are not depending on only one engine. Spice and Indigo have a fleet which also has Pratt and Whitney. Some of their aircrafts are on ground, but not the entire fleet. I think this judiciousness has to come from the people who are in the aviation sector and managing this thing. Government cannot lay down anything on it. You start an enterprise of Rangan airline. You have to look into it. Why should government step into it? Government will facilitate you. Government will tell you, okay, you want these clearances, I'll give you. You want A, B, C, D, E, where you want facilitation, we will do that for you. But airline has to be run by you. We won't interfere with it.
So ultimately, it is the the low prices. Ultimately, you get a lot of chance to fly, but then when this kind of roadblocks hit, or there are airlines hit such deep pockets from a technical or any other perspective, ultimately it's back to square one, because you have one airline gone out of the entire bunch. So one important airline gone from a very key sector.
Did anybody know that Pratt and Whitney will go down like this? Pratt and Whitney, a prime firm, which was absolutely arrogant in the aviation market. Then government should say, okay, we will now, say abracadabra and a Pratt and Whitney engine will be produced. No, it's a reality you have to face. So far as we are concerned, we have ensured that wherever routes Go Air was flying have been compensated for by other airlines by giving them extra routes, so that passenger doesn't suffer. That is the part of the government's role.
And
part of the government role is not to run an airline.
No, that's right. But then ultimately, it's the public money which is now affected.
Which public money? It is their own money. There's no public money involved.
The public money in the
The
sense,
airlines is their own money. They have to pay for it. If he says he's insolvent, the court has to find ways and means of ensuring that whatever debt he has taken from the banks is paid. It's not government money.
you're telling me that the debt
It's
has
a
been
private entrepreneur.
have the debts been completely paid up?
Pardon?
Have the debts been completely cleared off?
Jet efforts have been on to revive it.
Have the debts been cleared off?
I've got no idea on it. I've got no clue on it, because that is a private affair. I don't look into their books to see what debt they have and what assets they have. They have to satisfy the auditors, who will now sit with them to find out what is there and what is not there. How can things be compensated? It's not our job.
India needs many more airlines. So what are your plans for the future? India
See,
needs many more airlines.
our plans are very simple. We will create infrastructure. We will welcome airlines to come in. We want people to come with a smaller aircraft airline so that more areas get connected. We are working on ensuring that at least each district in the hilly areas has a heliport so that traffic becomes easy. We are looking at the maintenance and repair organizations to come in India so that people don't have to fly outside and spend a lot of money to get their maintenance and repair done. And
Sir, you switched off the mic and move and the camera. हाँ बोलिए.
pardon?
Yeah, you were saying then you switched off the mic and the camera.
No, I didn't switch the call which came in. What I said was that where we are concerned, we are trying to put whatever incentive is possible in terms of policy guidance, airlines to fly. Wherever our help is required, we will give that.
And this Pavanhans and as you're talking about heliports, what are the plans for Pavanhans? Is it going to be? Are we going to
Pavanhans is running. Pavanhans is into profit. If there's a need to let the private parties run it, just fine. The decision will be taken after analysis. No decision is being taken by whims and fancies. Everything goes through Niti Aayog. They put a commission or a committee to examine all pros and cons. It is debated, it is analyzed, then only a decision is taken. After all, Air India decision also took almost 2 to 3 years. It's not that suddenly one day we said, okay, Air India, go. No. Nothing is being done in a hurry. Nothing is done on whims and fancies. Everything is worked out properly so that decision results in advantages and not disadvantages.
So, what we take away from this particular interaction with you is the real facts. What we take away as the real facts about what is the real story behind the debacle of GoFirst as an important airline going down. So, after this particular interaction, we can only hope and pray that situations are not, people at least take learning from the mistakes made in the past, and this is one latest addition to that, wherein the engine dependability on a foreign manufacturer, that is where the Pradhan Mantri has been harping on Make in India. Probably we have to set our,
We have to look at this particular aspect. It's a challenge, and I'm quite sure there are a lot of people who are already thinking about it, working out on what kind of JVs can we have. It's not easy to go in for manufacturing aircraft engine immediately. Had that been the condition, then our HF-24 in 1960s vintage, which did not have an engine but was a delta wing, beautiful aircraft, French design, wouldn't have failed. We took an American engine and we had 5 crashes and 5 of our best pilots got killed. After that, it was, kept as a museum piece. The French came and looked at it, and what Mirage is today was born out of that design. You didn't have an engine. We need to have that capability. That capability has been felt for a very, very long time. I'm sure there are a lot of people who are working on it. A lot of minds are looking out as to what can be done.
Look forward to having no such more incidents, at least in the near future, till the time we are ready with our own, Swadeshi models of the aircrafts.
And I'm sure that will happen.
Otherwise, this is going to be a kind of a phenomena which is going to keep striking us every few years going down. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.